Yes, guys. So as I said before, in this video, I'll be talking about what's really happening in Jamaica. More recently, the things that have been happening in Montego Bay and such forth. So, personally, I don't really know what's happening because Jamaica is such a place where we will talk about culture. People would come here just to understand what's actually happening, to dive into the culture, to understand completely what's happening in our country. But if we're going to dilute the culture to the point where we can understand what's actually happening, it doesn't make any sense, because when you see some of the instances that are happening, we really have to wonder what's happening to Jamaica. So a few more persons are going to come on the live, so let's just get into that right away. So we have Kay and Brown on the live already, always here and ready. A few more persons supposed to come on. Every time I do a live, it's on Sundays, we talk about things that are happening in the world, things that are happening in Jamaica, just the same. So you can subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed as yet, and just enjoy a few videos to see what's actually happening. So my personal views on what is actually happening in Jamaica is we're losing our value as a nation. We're losing our value as the cultural people in the Caribbean, because when you check out some of the things that used to happen before in the 80s and the 90s, Jamaica would be at the forefront in most things. We're in the Greater Antilles and such forth. But these things are really putting a shame to the name of Jamaica, because we've seen instances where Trinidad, instances where Haiti has been brought to shame. The most recent is when the president actually, got assassinated. Just saying. And that has brought shame to Haiti's name, because for something like that to actually happen to a country, a great nation, thousands of millions of peoples on their soil, that would be a disgrace to the actual name. And when we found out that it was a strategic assassination. So the things, to be more specific, that have been happening in Jamaica is that a lot of kidnappings have been happening, where you see children going missing, you see people going missing. And I think it was sometime in last year or the year before, persons were getting killed by their spouse or their siblings or such forth, because this girl, she got killed by her mother and sister who conspired against her. So that was an unfortunate thing. And there are cases like this all over the world. But when we look at where Jamaica is actually coming from and the type of views that people see our country in, where we are loving people and we're so deep and in depth with our culture, this would actually bring shame to our name. So when I see these things happening, it only led me to make a video about it and try to understand what exactly is happening. So when you see persons going missing in Jamaica, the most recent was in St. Thomas, where it was alleged that this guy was taking away little girls and such forth, and there wasn't any proof of the children getting harm or anything like that. But the fact that somebody is going around and taking away young girls, that's a form of serial kidnapping, because he's doing it on more than one occasion. So when I see something like this happening, I'm wondering what is actually happening to the people in Jamaica. Are we losing our culture? Are we losing our minds? Is this corona thing really getting to us to that point where we have to do some things like this? So I'm sure a lot of people would see it in the news, where you would see it was also going around on social media, where the guy's picture was being posted all over the internet saying that he's the person who is doing this and he's the person who is doing that. So I would like a psychological approach somebody with some qualifications in psychology to actually explain to me what's happening in Jamaica, where the paradigm has shifted. So people would see this and wonder what is happening to Jamaica. So, and then there's the instant of the cult. That's a whole topic within itself. The instance of the cult, when really have to wonder, like, what was the pastor thinking? Is he actually a good pastor initially, or is he just a fake minister where, you know, he goes around and just demand money from his member of the congregation and such forth? Because being a pastor is such a thing where you actually go to school for it in certain countries. You know, certain people will actually have to go to school for that. All right, so we have DJ Balfour just forward. Miss anything? All right, so let me get you up to speed. We're in the session of talking about what's happening in Jamaica. You know, the kidnappings that have been happening in St. Thomas. You know, the cult church. You know, the kidnappings overall. You know, so much high rise in crime where we can't understand. You know. There was also another instance in Kingston where a bus driver was killed because of, you know, the gang violence that is there, and the people who are doing whatever they are doing. So that's basically the up to speed. So if you have any points you would like to share, you can just state that. You know, you can comment. It's a live comment. Whenever you comment, I would see it at the same time. So last week, when I was doing the live, not a lot of persons came on, and some people texted me off the air, and some people commented and said that, you know, it was too early. So I kind of dialed back the time to 5 p.m. So I'll be doing this every Sunday, 5 p.m. every Sunday. So you can just look out for that and automatically come on. All right, so Kemanzi Brown says Julene is here. All right, Julene. Glad to see you. Come on, you know, showing support. We'll be doing this every Sunday, so you can get used to it. You know, the topics that are happening in Jamaica, you know, things we talk about our culture. So let me get you up to speed just the same. We're talking about, you know, the kidnappings, the high rise in crime, you know, the cult church, those type of things. So you can just share your points just the same. So back to what I was saying now. So I would like a psychologist to give me some form of insight on what's actually happening with the person's mental state in Jamaica, make them actually go to these extents to do certain things like this, where you see pastors coming up with sacrifices and those type of things. You know, it really makes you wonder. So personally, I don't know what's happening. Is it the mental state of how Corona is handling the people, or is it just that we have been a crazy set of people for such a long time, but we just didn't realize? You know, are we selling out for international purposes? Are we trying to adapt international likes, the international lifestyle too much, where we are actually losing ourselves? Because as far as I see, the culture is being diluted. I remember days when you could just go to somebody's house and, you know, they don't worry about the things that are going to happen. You know, for the people who are living in the rural area, you know, you go bush, you roast your little sweet potato, your roast corn and them type of thing there, you know. But hearing about sacrificing, it was actually when I went to church. The first time I heard about this sacrificial article type of thing is when I went to church. And, you know, you're reading the Bible, and then the minister it, and you have conversations, and they say, all right, you know, such and such man was willing to sacrifice his son because he heard it from God himself to say, all right, you know, prove to me that you are loyal, sacrifice the son. And when he was about to do it, you know, God said to him, no, don't bother do it. All right, don't worry, do it. You have proven to me that you are as loyal as they come. So this was the first time I heard about it. So when I didn't even get the chance to watch the news. It was on social media is where first I seen the whole story. And you heard about this pastor doing a blood sacrifice with all his members, and he sent out a text for everyone to come and see and and those type of things. So he was telling them, oh, you know, leave your phones at home and those type of things, and such forth. Also, before I go any further into the video, like up the video, like put a like in the liking area, and you can leave a comment, because this can help me with the algorithm. So let the like button be your best friend for those who are watching now, and for those who are coming on, like it just the same. So back to what I was saying. So when I heard about it, and somebody sent me the videos and all of the links to what was happening, I was wondering if this was actually true, if this was really happening in Jamaica, and why. So as I said before, I would like a psychological approach to understand what clearly is happening in the pastor's mind. Why did he do it? Is he actually that into it? All right, so we have Michael Asphalt Jr., his channel. He's a very good person on this right now to tune in. He could chime in some of his beliefs and some of his opinions. Okay, and he's also saying, I don't understand how him brainwash the people them. So, all right, that's what I'm actually trying to find out. And are Christians gullible or not? Because, going to church, he would be the pastor at the pulpit where he preaches and such forth. But do Christians actually do research for themselves, aside from, just reading the Bible? Do some actual historical research. Because when you check the levels, in reality, the pastor had most of them whipped, really, really whipped. And there's also a voice note circulating on the internet where two ladies are voice noting each other, and one is saying basically, I don't understand what is happening, what was happening at the church, what happened to the bishop. That's what she said. What happened to the bishop, what's actually happening there. So DJ Balfour says, it's the fact that these people have the needs and wants, and probably have something to do, probably have something to offer. My opinion, that I don't know. All right. So, yeah, persons gonna have needs and persons gonna have wants, where, if they want a house, they want a car, what they're willing to sacrifice. Yeah, totally get that. But when you use the word sacrifice, we use it so loosely, and when it actually comes from the originality of what the persons actually used it for initially. So we'll just say that, yeah, all right, so we are going to sacrifice some time, we're going to sacrifice some money, we're going to sacrifice a little energy to get something done. Yes, that's fine. That's completely fine. That's how we interpret the word sacrifice. But when it comes on to the biblical term now, the Old Testament term, this is where we are going to mix up the actual term of sacrifice. And Tanisha is saying, at Dija, that's exactly how it is. Even heard of, people doing all types of killing, were promised for kidneys and such forth. And yeah, that's another thing that was happening in the whole kidnapping in the other days. People will get kidnapped, and it would seem as if it was some black market harvesting for organs, and to sell them and make some money. So things like this actually happen, but it's kept on the hush hush in Jamaica, as far as I see. Okay, so he discharged himself and called him for the kidney. All right, so as Michael Asphalt Jr. said, like and share the video, guys. All right, so DJ Balfour is saying, see, this is the thing, a promise of hope make people jump for joy. Yes. All right, yeah. So is it the case where the pastor is just a user, or is he driven by some form of spiritual correction, where he would say, all right, the gates of heaven is for us. And in truth and in fact, the only way to go to heaven is you died, All right, so Michael Asphalt Jr. said what the pastor did is wrong. And that's the basis of what most people see it on. But what about the persons who actually believe that what he is doing is right? Are they gullible, or it's this spiritual movement between their minds? Because I was explaining this to someone the other day, all right? And bear with me and tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right. There is some form of spiritual power in everyone. And it's been dated back to Africa, where persons have been spiritual, and we've been separated from our native land and brought into the European culture, where we serve under New Testament and the Catholics and such forth and such forth. But in Africa, the majority of religion is not Christianity, but the majority of Christianity is the religion of the world. You know, most people in the world are Christians. But as human beings, I believe that we have some form of spiritual control, because if this wasn't possible, how could we pray to our God, and how could we actually have faith in certain things to trust that something better will happen, something good will come on in life, and such forth and such forth? So is it the case where we allow pastors to lead us because they have more spiritual connection, or they are driven stronger spiritually? So is that the case, that persons don't understand that we actually have spiritual resonance, where we can actually be a vessel in ourselves, or we actually need persons to lead us to the light? So Michael Aswell Jr. is saying people who believe that he is right must be demon possessed, and act like that will not carry you to heaven. That's exactly what I'm saying. So they're basically gullible, because what was happening was inhumane, and for the most part it wouldn't seem that people was with it. You know, people were with what was happening for the most part, I would think, because when you hear the authorities get involved, it's obviously because at least one person was saying that, yeah, listen, no, this too much, I'm not with it. This too much right now. This doesn't even make any sense. So that's basically what happened. But another thing is, what will be the justice, if any, is supposed to be given for the persons who were sacrificed? What justice will they get? You know, will the pastor actually face time for that? Or will there be some form of leniency on him because of his actual title? So DJ Balfour said, I think nothing is wrong with the man. He knows what he is doing. The fact that he told them not to bring their cell phone, leave it at home and turn it off, he is very much aware this is wrong. Right. And that's understanding basic psychology, because people will know that, all right, listen, no sacrifice thing is supposed to happen. We don't believe in that. We don't go that far. We don't go that far. So that's the reason why he told them to leave their technological phones at home. You know, you can literally press one button, and then the authorities can be summoned within minutes. So, you know, they could even go live in a situation like this. And there was actually other rumors. I'm not sure if this is correct, but there are rumors about the pastor being that when the coronavirus just came in, he said that the virus will be the end of us, and you can pay $100,000 and come on the ark, and your spirit will be saved, and such forth and such forth. But personally, I did the maths, and if 70 persons, if 70 persons came on and brought 100,000 each, that's roughly $7 million. That's roughly $7 million. And why would you be a man of God and, you know, represent the actual spirituality of the God himself and want money to bring on persons on the ark? And when we read in the Bible, and, you know, we go to Sunday school and classes about churches, things, you know, it said that on the ark, they was preaching, no, I was preaching for years and saying that, oh, come on the ark, because, you know, it will be the end of the world, and once the doors close and the floodgates open, you know, nothing will happen good for you. You'll die. Why wasn't it a situation like that where we had some form of visuals much longer before this, where he was actually preaching and saying that this will be the end of us and we will be doing this and you should come on the ark? No one should have been charged to go on this ark, right? And that's the first red flag. That's the first red flag for me. And personally, I believe there is a God. You know, I believe there is a God out there, because without actually believing in something like that, you know, you would question life itself. And we have been here for millions of years, you know. How would we actually exist, and how can we operate, for instance, without battery, you know, without any form of electrical sustenance? You know, our phones need charging, our laptops need charging, cars need battery, cars need gas. So things like that. How would we exist? And each person would have a face for themselves. Each person would have a different mental state of how they think, different capabilities, different attributes, and different features. So this is why I believe that there is a God, right? And persons will actually try to force you. This is something that I saw. Some Christians will actually try to force you into a religion or into the category of being a Christian themselves because of what they heard, and they just basically don't question anything. Because I have Indian friends, I have friends from India, I have friends from Japan, I have friends from America, right? I have friends from across the globe, and persons who are watching this just the same might be from a whole different country. But when you don't question the background of what and where your religion, your culture is coming from, as I said before in the starting of the video, we are Africans. So in Africa, there isn't a high percentage of Christians. All right, so Kemenzi said, I think something is wrong with him, and he knows you only do these things for money. I saw a video where he said that everyone who entered the church has to offer, and they must come on his title or such. All right, so I heard about that just the same, you know, where he was charging people to do a lot of things. A lot of things. So this is why certain Christians don't question their religions, you know, they don't question their background and what is actually happening. Because we were stolen, our ancestors were stolen from Africa and brought into the European culture, where, you know, we don't wear any dashikis anymore. We don't wear jewelry. Men in Africa would wear some long earring, you know, all this type of thing. But because we are in the European type of culture, we would think that is gay. That is our mindset, and we haven't questioned that. But persons who haven't questioned reality, and then they come to you and say, oh, you must be a Christian because there's a God, and the God is ready for you, and this type of thing and this type of thing. Personally, I don't have an issue with these people as long as you believe in your God and you are true to what you are saying. I don't have a problem with you. But the persons who are in it because they were fed information and fed knowledge, you are the problem. You are some of the people who are at that church, not physically, but mentally. Your mental state is just like some of the persons who were at that church, and that's why some of those persons got caught, right? Right. So back to the voice note that I heard now. You know, this woman was saying that, I'm not with what the bishop is doing, and I'm not with that any at all. I'm not going to do it. And then the other person said that, listen, the other lady said that, listen, when you were bleeding out, and this sounds like some menstrual issues or something, you know, a woman would face, you know, fibroids or those type of things. She said that when you were bleeding and almost died because you were constantly bleeding, the bishop was the one who actually saved you from that. And in this sense now, if you remember watching some of these shows on television or reading about it in the Bible, where Moses went to Pharaoh, and, you know, when he went to Pharaoh, Pharaoh had a sorcerer, where most of the things that Moses was granted most of the spiritual gifts that he was granted, turn his staff into a snake, those type of things. All right, carry on. You're late, but you're present, gone almost half an hour in, but you're here. Like the video and share it out just the same. So, as Kemanzi said, the Bible speaks about false prophets. And as I said before in the video, there are instances where we actually have spiritual resonance and spiritual power. So if you don't understand your spiritual power, this is where you will be fooled by a lot of these fakes. And that is what will happen. So Michael Asphalt Jr. said that he's a fraud. And Kean Brown said that some words he used in the church members didn't take second thoughts. Okay, so some of them didn't take a second thought on what was actually happening. Dressing all white, come and there's knives and cutlass and camera string up, and then somebody's throat gets slit. That would be it for me personally. That's all. And the worst part about it is, for the real and true Christians and the real and true pastors, they're going to face a lot of scrutiny because of what is happening, because of all of these things that are happening in Montego Bay. So real church members now who were on the verge of believing that there is something better in life, wanted to make a change. Now, what them are going to do? What are they going to do? They must feel some type of way if you say, all right, if pastor can do this, there's no God. And personally, I feel sorry for those persons who actually believe that there's a God out there and that their lives can be changed for the better. All right, so Nathaniel Johnson, hey, I'm just coming in. That man is wicked to people. People need to read and know more about the Bible for themselves. That is true, Nathaniel. That is very true. So that was a question I asked earlier into the live. What about the scriptures? Are Christians really being drawn into the scriptures or drawn into the church? Which is it? Persons are going to put it in the point where, the pastor control the church and, you can't. People go to church and can't even question certain of them pastors because the pastor will feel offended and feel like, oh, you don't believe in God and you just try trouble me and ray and such forth. But when a pastor is driven by greed and money, what gonna actually happen? What gonna happen to the persons who are true Christians within that church, Persons who actually believe in what is happening, that there can be a better decision and such forth in what is happening. All right, so Vloggers TV KC just tuned in. All right, so YouTube channel for him, you can go and check it out, subscribe just the same. And Michael Asphalt Jr., he has a YouTube channel just the same. In fact, he's a Christian, so I'm glad he is weighing in on this video. If you have something you want to know about, he has a lot of Christian topics. How his religion brought him to certain things, so you can go and tune in just the same. All right, so DJ Balfour says that these people don't think because being in the church, doing their so-called worship and saying, Hail His Majesty 99 times. Come on, we are Jamaicans. We know we don't do this. Each to their own, but think. All right, so Michael Asphalt Jr. said, he does live streams too. Yeah, so he does live streams too. So you can go check them out. Guys, when him gonna actually do his. As I said before, I do mine every Sunday. I'm not sure how often he does his or if it's just a once in a while thing. But I'll be doing this every Sunday to chime in and, to have a one-on-one conversation. Basically, you can share your views and, I share mine just the same. So Nathaniel says, yes, some of them say them head and some of them say them ahead and not breaking down in the Bible, what is actually happening. Right. All right. So personally, if I were a Christian, I would know the Bible from the actual front to the back, personally, because I'm a person that is very hard to convince. You have to bring real facts to me to let me know that, all right, yeah, I believe, these are the things I'm going to think about. But people on a whole don't actually try to get information for themselves. All right, so Romario Balfour says that some pastors stick to the old stories rather than to read the Bible and try and understand the Bible for themselves. Exactly, Romario, exactly. And that is where the Old Testament and the New Testament would come into play, right? I am no Christian, but the Old Testament type of stories, the Old Testament type of treating, based on religion, would be questionable today in modern times. We have human rights, right? Number one, we have human rights. And what happened in Montego Bay was an Old Testament move. A real Old Testament move, where people would sacrifice goats and, where them sacrifice those type of things to actually prove to their God that, listen, this is the type of thing and way, and such forth. And the Old Testament is before the actual commandments, I would say, because when we see when they lead the persons into the desert, and then he got the tablets with all of the commandments. Before that, there were no rules to guide people, and there was no rules for them to live by. So, then you have in the commandments now where they say, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not covet against one's wife, or, those type of things. So, this is where the rules by life came in now. So, this was the New Testament, right? This was the new things that are happening because of what was happening in the valley. What was happening in the valley? They were worshipping a whole different golden bull and this and that, and there were false prophets everywhere. So this is why the New Testament came in. And for persons who just come on the live stream, be sure to click the like button, share the video in the meantime, get a few persons more over here and tell them to come and watch it and share their views. And if you've missed the live stream, you can always catch it next week. And you can rewatch the video for yourself, and you can comment just the same. I will still answer comments because I still want to interact with for the persons who miss the stream. So these are some of the things that are happening in Jamaica, and this is why I think Jamaica is losing its culture for the most part. How can we as a nation who was being known for all of the love and the unity, produce people like Bob Marley who spread love across the world, produce people like Usain Bolt who is the fastest man alive and those things. How can we be so blindsided of that the culture is being changed? Certain things would never happen in the past, and change is good and change is also bad. But when you factor in some of the things that are actually happening, you can appreciate this form of change. My point, even though some people can't read, but the Holy Spirit teach people to read, that is happening, watering down the words of it, because people dash with the old ways of the Bible. All right, Nathaniel, that is a good point. And I would like to hear more from you, because you seem like you have a genuine point you would like to share. You have a genuine opinion you would like to share. And that is true. Persons will read the Bible themselves and then have a different type of interpretation. So this is where the right way the pastor should come in now, because, the pastors would be the actual persons who went to school for it for the most part, understand the actual ways of how the Bible works and how to decode the scriptures and understand completely what was happening, what was happening within those times and how to apply it into modern times. At one point in time, I was going into church, and I was going to church, and when I was there, this pastor was preaching. I won't say the name, but he was preaching, and he was telling you that if you're a Worldlian and you want to go into church, and you get baptized and you throw away all of your worldly things, no more dancehall CDs, no more pornography type of movies, those type of things, the short miniskirts, you part those, the pants for women, you put that aside. One woman in the church said that she doesn't think you should actually throw away the things because she was somewhat tied to material things. She was saying that that would be a complete waste of money, and you should don't it better you donate it to somebody than actually throwing it away. And personally, I think that was a stupid, opinion to share, because if you are a Christian, you would obviously want to see the world to be something better, and you would want to have everyone come on to one accordance, and then you say, all right, listen, all of us are Christian, we're going to live life the right way. So when you give somebody else all your tight up skirt, all of your dancehall CDs, you're just pushing them back further into the world. You understand? And that's what happened for a lot of people. And Kemanzi said, all I know is everyone has to know God for themselves. That is true. And no one can force you to believe that there's a God, or should force you to believe that there's a God. Every human being has the ability to look into themselves and realize that, all right, I'm living for some reason or such forth. So, if you don't believe in God, that's on you. But I don't think no one should force anyone to. Enlighten them on reasons why there is a God. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Talk to them and say, all right, listen, there are some things that are actually happening. There is a God. And for that reason, you can talk to them about it, but don't force them. Let them understand it themselves. So Kean Brown is saying, everyone get their own understanding from the Bible. Sometimes a pastor can explain, but if you read for yourself, there's a different understanding, and that's a good point. There's a different understanding in each Bible, because some Bibles don't actually measure the words in the actual sense, going right across the board and say, all right, listen, in this Bible it says this word, so we're going to stick to the words. Some of the words were misinterpreted because of, difference in language and difference in culture. So when the Bible was written in a specific language, and then we English speakers going to decode what the Bible is actually saying, there is no 100% guarantee that we will get everything that the Bible is saying correctly, because of cultural backgrounds and because of language. And that can bring you back to the Tower of Babel. Yeah, for Christians, I have a little understanding, so you can learn about the Tower of Babel. Maybe Michael as well, Junior, should do a video on that, talk about what was happening in those times, try to enlighten people. This would be a great time for you to do something like that, because, as I said before, I feel that there's persons out there who are going to get connected, but because of this instance, they lost their way, and they can't exactly find back their way themselves. So maybe a YouTube video on something like that, what to do in a time like this, would help your channel and also help people on a whole. So yes, when you look at the Bible, you can also recall when going to school, your English teacher will tell you about context clues. So a lot of persons are old-fashioned and drawn to roots who actually go to their church. So most of them can't read a sign. Most of them can't actually read from a book. But when it comes down to the Bible, they read because it's something that they have been exposed to, right? But when it comes down to the context in which they read in, because they wouldn't have the proper teaching of how to decipher something, whether it's a statement, whether it's a phrase, whether it's actually a paragraph or an epistle of something, So Natalie Johnson says, pastors nowadays is about the hype, big life, God don't want to close and all of that, shouldn't soul, not pant, all type of things. So they're talking about all of that. Yeah, and if you realize, this is where cultural backgrounds are fading, because at one point in time when I was going to church, pastors would be a man in a suit, he probably drive, but in most cases, there's probably some mason, carpenter, he works an honest living. But nowadays, these pastors driving Ferraris and Lamborghinis and BMWs Even in Jamaica, you have pastors out here driving the hypest and hypest things. And don't get me wrong, if you work honestly for what you own, nothing is wrong with that. But in the scriptures, they would say that, all right, people, we're not supposed to live in such a way where we can be wasteful with money and other persons out there are suffering, you know. So when I see pastors doing this thing, nothing is wrong with buying a nice car, nothing is wrong with living in a nice home. We all have our creature comforts, right? But when it's in a time where you can actually give back and help, and you are living in such a lavish life, how can you tell me that I should come to church and throw offering and those type of things when you yourself haven't given up on worldly ties? Because money is such a worldly thing. You are tied by money. The more you have, the more you are tied. Because the more you have, the more bills, the more things you can do. So you start thinking about money move over a lot of things. So Nathaniel Johnson says that people in church, some of the pastors let some backslide and all, seeing we need back the old ways of the Bible. The Holy Spirit teach us the right way. All right, Nathaniel, good point and good comment. So Romario Balfour is saying that nobody can fully understand the Bible. The reason being is each part of the Bible have different things to say. All right, because there are different persons who wrote in the Bible together, you know. Psalms, you have Genesis, you have all of the books of the Bible. So when it would say that there are different persons who helped written the Bible and they didn't come together in one point, no one can fully understand the Bible. Alright, so Romario also said that the only way is to read with understanding, because if yourself isn't reading with understanding, you will confuse yourself and others. Good point, Romario. And that is just basic knowledge, you know, basic knowledge of understanding how things work. So anybody really understand what happened? All right, so we know that sacrifices happen. You know, we know that there are cults all over the world. But anybody have any form of news source to say how that this came to Jamaica, and if there is only one branch of that church in Jamaica, or is there another branch around somewhere, and what is happening to that church? Anybody have any type of information on that? Because I've been doing some reading upon what was happening, and based on what I've seen, this was the first big instance of when this is happening. So I'm not sure what to think, because it's an international based church, you know. This thing actually made the news in America, you know, and them talking about the church overseas just the same. So Kemanzi Brown says that these pastors nowadays are not ordained by God. They are only college pastors. So you can expect anything from them. That is true. That is true. So what you're saying, Kemanzi, is that they are not really spiritual. It's only the fact that they went to school and understand religion and what they are saying. You know? It makes sense. All right, Tiffany Nation saying, Eli, big up. All right, big up yourself, Tiffany. Like up the video and share out the video just the same. Like the video, share it up, and tell persons who missed the live. I'm doing this every Sunday. We can have a chat. You know, if you have a topic you want us to talk about, you can text me differently. You can comment on the video and tell me about a topic you want us to talk about next week. All right, so Natania is saying, oh, people, my daughter have a channels of, okay, your daughter have a channel, Sisters D and Jem. Give them a shout out, please. Okay, go and subscribe to D and Jem YouTube channel, you know, give them a strength, because, you know, that's what we come to do around here, support for support. All right, so Kian Brown is saying there are others because another pastor said the police who stopped the sacrifice is going to die. All right, Kian. All right, first of all, Everyone is going to die. Every living person, every living being will eventually meet an end. That's number one. So the police, have nothing to worry about. All the way I go dead. All right, Tiffany says, congrats on your 1K. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you. You can share the video just the same and like and tell everybody I'm at 1K now. Get me to 5K, 10K, 100K. All right. So yeah, everybody I got dead. That's just it. Everybody gonna die at some point in time. But under the circumstances in which you die, basically this supposed to sound like Oberman. Sound like saying have some powers in one use one at the police Monday for whatsoever reason, because him colleague different another pastor was sacrificing some people against their own will. And you gonna die for that? Well, so be it. And DJ Balfour says, I am not aware of any, but I think many more of them is active right now. Of course, more is out there. A lot more is out there. A lot more. And then Ken says, I mean, there are more cult pastors. Yes, there are a lot more. So much more of them out there in society. But because them do this, then keep it on a hush-hush. A lot of sacrifices are happening that we don't know about mainstream. When we come on to the gangs that the police were holding in Kingston, the police chief commissioner was the head of a gang in Kingston. We didn't know about that. We are regular people. But if you want to get rich, you hear about Illuminati, you hear about sacrifices, you hear about going to Oberman and tie down people and all type of things. So of course there are other persons who are in cults out there. A lot more out there. So what we're gonna do? We just have to be vigilant. We just have to open our eyes and then understand, say, oh listen, people who come out to the public, most times they aren't who they say they are, They are lying. Them trying to catch us, them trying to reel us in for their own personal game. Some of them will harvest your organs, some of them we try to use you. I even watched a documentary at one point in time where this girl was trying to go on a farm work program, and them call her, no official documents were signed, nothing serious. It just seemed like a backdoor deal. You go and you meet somebody at the car, then tell us, sit down in the car, we can do the interview. You do the interview and then them buy your plane ticket to get your visa, and you travel gone overseas. You work over there, and then she was working over there for some time, and when she was working over there, the man start take her money now and I say, listen, you have to start paying me now because we make it come over here to take them and take her passport, take her visa and all these type of things. So when you take away all of those things now, the girl don't know what to do. She don't know what to do. So she was saying that, all right, she gonna come home, but she don't have no visa and a passport. Why she never reported to the relevant authorities? And then it turns out that she was over there 8 years and being pimped out, used as a prostitute for the man's own personal gain before she finally mustered up the courage and report it. And if you're gullible, if you want to be rich very quickly without working, you don't want to do it the right way, you're going to be caught. You're going to get catch, because there are a lot of traps out there, scammers, cult pastors, you name it, all type of things. So them trying to use sweets and catch people. So me not love sweets, so them not gonna catch me. And I hope everybody in the comments and everybody who watch this video not love sweets, where them gonna catch I hope nobody don't get catch by anything like that. So Nathaniel Johnson is saying, enough are out there same way. Of course. A lot of them out there same way, doing a lot of things, trying to reel in people and do all type of things. And enough of them just crazy, them mad, them insane. We don't know what to them. And if you look at some of the things that happen, it only leave you to try understand what happening in some of these people's brain. All right, so Nathaniel says, why you think so much killing and missing people out there? Cult have a lot of them. Cult have a lot to do with it, and that is true. Even a lady who is missing in Brownstone, I even know them can't find her. What caused that? Nobody knows. Somebody can just up and go missing just like that. want to the GPS on your phone for ping the cell phone and find where the person is. A lot of things like this tied into some kidnapping black market type of thing. So DJ Balfour says, and that's the thing, it's hard and more expensive to do stuff the right way. So backdoor deal is the given hope, as said before. Of course, and this is why a lot of people gonna get caught in life, because you love the easy way. If it were supposed to be easy, it would be easy. When you see certain people have them success, don't try bad mind them, don't try hold out on them, because them work hard for them thing. You know? And then Romario Balfour says that some people are too desperate for change and will do anything for it, while danger will be right there in their eyes and them not seeing it. Good point, Romario, good point. And some of them see the red flag a wave. And when them see the red flag a wave, them just say, oh, probably be an orange flag a tell me to slow down and stop light. But to each their own. Kemanzi Brown is saying that the Bible says, woe be unto those who lead the children astray. So it's for us to know God for ourselves, of course. Of course. And I realize that a lot of us on this stream right now know what's happening. So sometimes you can just talk to people, because sometimes people gonna be in a desperate situation where they just need somebody to talk to and understand if what they are doing makes sense and if what they're doing will actually help them. You know, sometimes it can just be a listening ear to someone and just try help them within advice and words, you know, try help them with all of that. But some people just can't be helped, and that's true. Some people can't be helped. All right, I had some dips in the Wi-Fi just a while ago. I had some dips in it, so it was reconnecting. But yeah, you know, I can offer a listening ear, talk to the people and see what's actually happening, see how you can help them. Some of we get caught on some shady stuff, and that would be understandable because we are humans, but we're supposed to learn from it, and then when we learn, we can actually offer advice to those who listen, because I've been talking to a lot of people sometimes on things and they don't like it because people just don't like the right way of doing things. If you realize what my channel is about, my channel is about bettering people, you know, talking to them, helping them out, you know, giving some form of life advice, giving some form of encouragement on things that you can do. Because personally I believe that everyone can do beneficial to their own lives as well as beneficial to someone else's lives. So DJ said, yeah, people are easily led because all they do is struggle. Yes. Some people just can't get a break in life. Some people literally can't get a break. Nothing no good not happen for them in their life. Them fight the fight, you know, them do everything right, but them just can't make it. And we can understand that. Because a lot of persons will do some things like that, but won't get to the point that they think they should be. And this is where you should understand that if it's not working, it's just not working. Don't go out of your way to own a Ferrari, to try own the biggest house in your community because you say you want the biggest house. That doesn't make any sense. If you have a 2-bedroom and all you do, you work, you save, you try this, you try that, and it's not working for you to get the Ferrari, if you get the biggest house, if you have the most expensive car, that simply means that it was not meant for you. So understand that certain things aren't meant for you and some things were meant for someone else. That's how life is. All of us cannot be on the same level. That will never happen. All of us can't be on the same level. So, what it is, and you have to understand that in life, people gonna live some different lives, but just don't get caught. Don't get caught with your pants down because you want something else. Don't get caught with your pants down because you want something else. Because you want to be better than somebody. And I even spoke to somebody before and they say, all right, so why you want to be successful? Deep conversation, me and the person, why you want to be successful? The person said, to prove people wrong. So I said, prove people wrong. So after you prove this set of people wrong, that you can't do it, right? What are you going to do with the other set of people coming along? the people who are richer than you, the people who are more successful than you, the persons who will look at your form of success and say, oh, that's nothing. What we gonna do? Just be happy with yourself. Be happy with what you're doing. You know, try to satisfy yourself in ways that it can actually make you happy. You don't say you want to be successful to prove people wrong, prove your grandfather wrong, prove your brother wrong, prove your sister wrong. And when you prove them wrong, what will happen? How you feel inside? You don't must feel any better. You probably even feel worse. You do this for them. Everything you do in life is for them. So Nathaniel is saying, my point, them can't catch me, cause me no love sweets and when already alright, Nathaniel. Good. But glad saying already at least one person can vote for themselves and say, listen, when already I love sweets, so them can't go catch me. You just do what you love. You know, do what makes you happy. I'm like that. Because at the end of the day, your happiness really matters, you know. If it's not yours, it's probably somebody close to you. But for the most part, if you have somebody close to you who you want to be happy, you gotta make you happy just the same, because you want the same person being in such a point where they are good. Yeah. So we're coming off to the closing point of it. I'm doing 1 hour every week. Every week, 1 hour. So Romario Balfour says to overcome. All right. DJ Balfour says, Eli, they don't think about what comes after proving people wrong. Precisely. Remember, we have some people out there with some very low self-esteem want somebody to look up on them. Yeah, that's true. Personally, the only way I want to prove somebody wrong is if it's a bet or some form of wager, but nothing too serious, you know? Them say you can't throw a stone over the wall because the wall too far. Yeah, man, I can't do that. I'm confident in myself. Throwing down over a wall. But something as detrimental as to try shape my life to please you, not me. Not me. I won't do that. That's not me. So Amara Balfour says to overcome the problem, to talk about it or write it down. All right, so you can overcome your issues, some of the struggling, by talking about it or write it down. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You can do that as well. But as I said before, people, we're coming on to the closing segment of this live. I'll be going live every Sunday. Every Sunday I'm going live. You know, you feel like you want to talk to Eli on concept of the mind, you can come on and talk to Eli on concept of the mind. Yeah, but I'll be doing videos once per week, so you can watch the video during the week, and then Sunday we're gonna go live. Tell me what that sound like to you, you know, tell me if you like that, tell me if that could work for you. And also you can tell me the time work best for majority of you, know, you just vote your time, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, anytime we get the majority with, that's the time we're gonna work it, because right now the lockdowns have people boring and enough people just have seen, you know, want to talk about something on their mind. So just tell me what time you can work with and tune in. So alright. Romario Balfour says the Kidling's law says if you can write down the problem is half solved. Alright, that makes sense. And let me try to decode that and try to see if my interpretation of that makes sense. Alright, so half solved is basically you know what the problem is, and as long as you know what the problem is, you can go about finding a solution. That would be the other half. So the first half, finding the problem. You find the problem and write it down. The other half, you know, you get the solution for the problem, and when you get the solution, the problem solved. So that's the first half. Alright, good law by Romario Balfour, good teachings for the persons here. So I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Sunday. Please share out the video. Please share out the video. Please tell everyone who you know to subscribe. Tell them to tune in on Sundays. Tell them to watch videos. Tell them to watch the actual live, you know. Tell them about the channel and encourage them to come along, you know. Want to see it at 100K or 1,000,000 subscribers. Want to think? Just jump on and just let us get it done the right way. So exactly 1 hour, we're gonna cut it. So DJ says the evening hours like this, best Eli have too much to do earlier in the day. Alright. Big up yourself, DJ. Big up yourself from Mario. Big up yourself, Natania. big up yourself. Kemanzi, you know, Kian, just to see him, big up yourself. Tiffany, thanks for tuning in. Kerry, and thanks for tuning in, just to see him. Michael Asphalt Jr., keep up the good work for your channel. KC TV, KC Vloggers TV, big up yourself. Everyone who tune in, big up on yourself. Respect for that. Tanisha, just to see him. Thanks for tuning in. But just to give everybody a thanks for coming on. You know, hope you enjoy the rest of Sundays and more Sundays to come. You know, share out the video just the same. Alright, so this was Concept of the Mind. You already know where it go. You just tune in. I have a video coming this week, so you can check it out this week. Thanks for tuning in and see you next Sunday.